differences. Lord knows we do. But when you look at the makeup of that council, we're moving forward. There's a lot of things that still got to be done. I just talked about our streets getting paved in Great Manor last night. I know.
No rocks.
No rocks. We're gonna get it paved. We got that casino coming across the street from us, so we talked about that. So he's on it. But you got a council that really is focused on the whole city. You know, and I'll tell anybody, if you want that job, by all means, run for it. You know, it's not gonna hurt my feelings at all. You know, it's not gonna hurt my feelings because it's a round-the-clock job. People call me in the middle of the night. They'll call me at all times of the day, and I don't mind. But I did get a new city cell phone, so I can make sure y'all call that number because y'all ran my bill up.
You don't respond.
No, I don't respond no more to that 400 number, man, because I got like 20 minutes on that thing. You know, but we want to change the mindset of the city. I think this year we got a lot of accomplishments. We cut healthcare in half. We didn't exactly reduce taxes, but we didn't raise it either. You know, but we got big things coming that Chesterfield want to have, Colonial Heights want to have. Nobody in surrounding counties will have, but we'll have it. And these things will allow us to reduce taxes, stuff of that nature in the future. One of my goals is to, and I know Ms. Brittany, I think we passed something about that, senior citizens with reduced taxes or something like that. You want to come talk about that?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I speak loud now.
Say it what, baby.
What Marlow is referring to is the tax relief program for the real estate. So council members did increase the amount from $35,000 for your income up to $45,000. So thank you. It really did help a lot of our elderly and disabled. So if you have to apply for that every year. So applications will go out the end of March and they're due back by May 1st of every year. If you already are approved, you'll get an application every year. If you know someone that needs to be on the list, just let me know, or I do have my business cards with me too, so I can pass those out. Anything else? That.
And I ain't got to see the sticker. So that's a good question. So.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. That's a good question, and it's not a question for the treasurer's office because the treasurer's office does not do your billing for your vehicles. That'd be a question for the billing and collections, or known as customer care and collections. However, all localities, you are charged a fee for your vehicle registration. Some give you a sticker, some don't. I think Colonial Heights is the only one that was doing it, and Petersburg got rid of theirs requirement in 2018, I believe. So there's still a fee to state that you live in Petersburg or your vehicle resides in Petersburg. And again, if you no longer have a vehicle, you would speak to Ms. Flowers. Or if you moved into the city, you can speak to Ms. Flowers because you will get a supplemental bill, which is done also through the Customer Care and Collections Department.
I think, Mr. City Manager, I think that's a question for you then.
Well, it's part, so when most communities, a lot of communities in the area don't actually give out a physical sticker anymore. I remember I was working in Hopewell years ago when we did away with the physical sticker, but you still had to pay, and I was just like you as a resident, like, why am I doing this? But it just comes down to that fee piece, and that's really ultimately a discussion for this guy over here on council, because they could look at eliminating that fee. Now, what we would have to do is go to them and say that portion of the personal property tax bill generates X number of dollars in fees that we use in our budget, so how would we make up that revenue loss if we got rid of that extra fee? But ultimately, you could go through and eliminate it if you wanted, but it would have to be a decision. I'd say one of those wonderful legislative decisions that council gets to make. But I think the important thing here is we are seeing a lot of activity, and we are seeing, now I don't know if anybody paid attention, we did, we paid attention to the governor's budget announcement today. and he put $1.1 billion in for tax relief for our wonderful car tax. Now, we'll have to wait and see how it all works out, because the last time Governor Gilmore did it, it didn't work out quite the way that he said it was gonna work out. But those are all things out there. I think we had, to follow up on just a general comment, we overall as a city had a really good year, a really good year. Everybody knows about the casino. I mean, that's huge. But in that week where we had the referendum approved on Tuesday, a lot of people didn't notice, but on Monday, there was this really quiet announcement that happened, and a sign across the street from Berkeley Manor, if you go down Normandy Drive where AMPAC was, the sign changed from AMPAC Fine Chemicals to Novo Nordisk. Now, Novo Nordisk is the largest pharmaceutical company in the world. They make Wegovy and Ozempic. So they are now residents of Petersburg. And that's going to be huge for us in the long run. We hope they do something similar to what they're doing in their Clayton, North Carolina facility, where they're investing in that facility to keep up with production. In that facility alone, they announced a $4 billion expansion, so bigger than the casino. So there will be a public announcement in a couple of weeks with the governor on that project. But we're hoping as they get in, they also have a foundation which does a lot to invest in the community. And that's kind of the really nice side of it. They like to invest in the communities that they're in and help with health care for the needy, educational opportunities, those types of things. So that we've got some good things that are happening there. Our bond rating, which dictates how much interest we pay in our money we borrow. We received an increase in that from an A+ to a AA-, which is a really big thing. You know, and council and finance staff and treasurer's office all need to be really proud of that accomplishment. And Ms. Brittany back there, our master commissioner of revenue. It's a team effort, and they did a fantastic job in getting that done. So we had a lot of good things happen this year, and we look towards building for the future, because ultimately we have an obligation to y'all to make this community, and I would say this not, and I don't mean this in any disrespect, but to y'all, but probably more importantly to the youth of this community, to make it and leave it better than we found it. We have an obligation to them, to take care of them, to make sure that they have a place. When they go off and to come back, they want to raise a family, we want them to say, we want to come back home and raise our family in Petersburg and not go somewhere else. So we're working towards those goals. We know it's going to take some time, but we've got a lot of things planned in the upcoming year that I think will be very good for everybody in the community. So we had a good year.
Hey, thank you, I appreciate that. If you want to know any more about that, you can come over to his table and talk to him. Leaving this.
Matter of fact, the house I lived in was my grandfather's house. I was born in that house. I don't need that. Thank you, Brian. I was in the hospital and I came out and I found out I was coming down Shore Street and my nephew was driving real fast, and I told him to hold up. I said, I see houses here that I haven't seen was empty. And I called my associate, Mr. Linwood Christian, asking, I said, what's going on, Linwood? He said, you know, it's interesting. People come in the neighborhood. First of all, they were told there are no neighborhood people there. I said, now, you know, that's a lie. He said, yeah. He said, now, I don't want you to get upset and hot. I said, well, it's a little bit too late. Because, see, I got people coming to the house asking me, Sarah, the property is going up. And I thought about it. I said, yeah, that includes this one I'm living in, 501 St. Matthew Street. You know, you have to take, first of all, in consideration the economy of the city. Okay? Nobody wants to look at that. A couple of weeks ago, I was on my way to a church meeting going down High Pearl Street. Chief Miller, cover your ears up. I'm going down High Pearl Street, and I told a young lady to stop. I said, what happened to the Delectable Heights sign that I put up 40 years ago? She said, sir, the sign is still there. I said, no, it's not. I said, now, I don't recall any ordinance, because I hope you all know what grandfather means. anything that's in existence already, you have to first get permission to move it. And I wasn't being facetious. I loved you, Kenny Miller. I wish you could stay here, but not in that capacity, because you really could do a wonderful thing in the community. But when you start talking about houses becoming dilapidated, I told a group of young people a long time ago, every house in this community has a history. It didn't just get dilapidated. You had family members who decided they were going to leave after they graduated from high school, went to college, and decided they weren't coming back. The only time you saw them is when they were going to a funeral, okay? And I told my nephew and his kids, that house is a legacy. My grandfather walked from North Carolina at the age of 14 and his baby brother. He bought that house working at Norfolk and Western Railroad, okay? And so I told him, I said, you don't know what a legacy is, you're about to find out. Now, just about everybody on that street knows. And they asking me, what happened to the sign? I said, well, you know what? I got a twin that I put up 40 plus years ago. And when I told the police officer that my sign was stolen, he looked at me, he said, the sign up there on the corner, High Pearl and Johnson Road. I said, I put that sign up 42 years ago. Not only me, but the residents. I have a resident. She's the lone person. She's 100, she turned 100 years old in November. And as long as she's breathing, I'm gonna be doing what I need to do.
I use the analogy of the fort. So you get to that gate, that's the Siskey Gate, and most of those folks at home base, unfortunately, they go straight and they go over to South Park Mall. We got to get them to turn left, come down Washington Street, and come into the community. And that really starts with making the gateway into the community there, because I grew up in Hopewell, born and raised. We came to Petersburg to do everything. We went to Walnut Mall to shop. We went to the movie theater at Walnut Mall. We did everything over here. So we came through and down Washington Street all the time. And we've got to get that Washington Street gateway back up and running and looking really nice, because if it's inviting, people will come on in. If it doesn't look good, it makes people pause and turn around and go the other way. So we're working on doing some streetscape work, some trees in there. We'll take care of you. Everyone, the Wagner Road area, I can tell you the Wagner Road area is going to end up looking really nice, because there's going to be this, this big thing that's coming, and they're going to do some things. But we also know from a community, from our perspective, for those visitors that are coming, we have to make things look nice, because we want them to stay. We want them to come up Wagner, turn on to Crater, and spend some money around in our businesses. So that means not only does Wagner need to look nice, but Crater needs to look nice. Sycamore needs to look nice. Washington with Halifax, Adams, Sycamore, Market, all of it, it has to look appealing to your eye. So I'm a Disney guy, right? So Disney has a quote. He says, if your eyes see something interesting, your feet will follow. So we have to make it look appealing for people to want to come into our community, because not only do we want quarters to develop down here, but we also want to make sure that at the other end of our bookends, downtown is still healthy. We don't want them to suck all that business out there. We need to have a healthy, balanced community. So that's what we're striving and working with them on. But we know that there's a lot of things we need to do. You're talking about potholes and paving. Look, absolutely. But where we're at is, it's not just a product of the downturn in 16, 17, where we hit rock bottom. It is also a product of decades of just not doing maintenance things that we should have done. We weren't making investments back into the community. We weren't taking care of the buildings that we owned the way we should have. So now we're here today and can't do anything about what led us up to today. But I can tell you from my office down from today, we're committed to making and doing the things that we're supposed to do that we should have been doing. I don't know why those decisions were made. I know I can go talk to a guy, he sits in the window at McDonald's every morning and eats breakfast, but I'm not gonna bother him. But we need to make sure we're doing the things that we're supposed to be doing. So we're committed to y'all.
Good evening, everyone. I do need the mic because my voice is low. But I just wanted to, you've heard the saying, those that can teach and those that cannot do. I have been fortunate enough to purchase my first home when I was 23. And since then, I've purchased about between 15 and 20 properties. So I know how to do it, but it does not necessarily mean that I know how to teach it. But whatever knowledge that I have, I'm willing to share it, because Petersburg is a gold mine. And when I moved here, I bought 2 properties at once, and I was just like a kid in a candy store, because the architecture and the history and just the value of the property is just blowing my mind. And I just learned today from someone at the Chamber of Commerce, I don't know how true it is, but I'm told that Sycamore Street, every property now has been purchased. So I don't even think you can buy a property on Downtown Row. That casino, I'm sure, changed a lot of things, but there are a lot of other properties available. And if anybody wants to know how to start the process, like I said, I've just been doing it a long time. Doesn't necessarily mean I know how to teach it, but I'm willing to share.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. I hear that saying a lot. Petersburg is a gold mine. How many of y'all heard that saying? Petersburg is a gold mine. So my question is, if Petersburg is a gold mine, who's doing the digging? So if none of us are doing the digging, and we got outside diggers coming in digging, we can't be mad when they find gold.
I know I've heard the city manager say they're going to take care of us, but they're certainly not taking very good care of our neighborhoods. When we have problems or there's something, a private citizen has something that they might want to contribute in some way to improve the neighborhood, it's hard to convey that to the city council or city manager or whomever, because we get a lot of pushback. It's almost as if they don't want you to tell them that there's a problem. They don't want you to improve the neighborhood. I know for 2 years now, I've been trying to get a yard cleaned up in our neighborhood. Don't even ask me how many times I've talked to code compliance. I know you all are sitting over there, and I talk to you. And every time when I ask them about the house, what do they say? Oh, we've already started code enforcement on the house. How long does it take to start code enforcement? That was last January when you told me that. And now January is about to roll around again. The yard is still in worse condition now. So nothing is getting done, even when we complain about it. And you try to come up with ideas to make your neighborhood better. We have people who can't even get in and out of their neighborhood because they need a stoplight there or something. Children getting off the school buses, no sidewalks, they're all over the street. They're gonna get hit by a car. And no matter what you say or who you talk to, and to try to report that, that's an accident waiting to happen. Because I've been in that line behind the school bus, and those kids are all over the road. Then the people trying to drive around, somebody's gonna get killed. Mm-hmm. So what does it take to get the city's attention, to give us, some answers to some of the problems that we have? Stop treating us like, oh, you just bother me, just go away,
But I said it last night, that we all have a responsibility in our city. Mm-hmm. My neighborhood, I think it is my responsibility, right? I'm not taking up the code prices I got on that bus a lot of times too, but I want to share the process. And sometimes to find these owners, it takes a while, because we got to go from state to state to state. I remember going to North Carolina to arrest somebody about some property that's been sitting here. This was when we had those arsons. Mr. Miller, he was just coming on board. We had the marshals on Washington Street, but we went to North Carolina to bring them back. To give them charges. So it takes some time. Sometimes it'll take that amount of time. And there's a list of things that each neighborhood have. That we just gotta prioritize what's what, right? Now, my approach with the city before I became on council is this. I just gotta do it. If I see something need to be cleaned up, I just do it.
Everybody can't do that though.
Right.
No, see, I'm not arguing with you, but everybody can do it.
I don't know about that.
Everybody can do their
Try.
part.
No, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If there's a need within your ability, in your community, and you're getting pushback, you wanna clean it up or whatever, do it. You know? You wanna open something up, do it. If you got pushback, there's some people you can talk to, you go right to his office. Say, I did this, I cleaned this up, and you can even give him a bill. Say, we cleaned this up. Yeah.
That's right.
You give them a bill. But taxes is how we get things done. And we need help. So, not just doing it by yourself, but if you got people who are able-bodied to work, bring them to work. Bring them to get a job. We need them. We need code compliance officers. Right now, we need housing inspectors. Right now. We need building inspectors. Right now. We need electricians. Right now. We need groundsmen. Right now. We have all these positions open, and y'all have an expectation of us to do things, but we have to find the people to do it. Right now, we got
There's no
prisoners.
education here though. Like most, and my thing with this whole thing is like like you said, going into Croton and Pin Oaks and Pecan Acres, and how people really have given up because they have gone through so much. I used to come to every city council meeting for years and years and years to just hear we're working on it, so I stopped. But I came tonight just to say, like, we as a community, we need to come together as a whole. And I understand what you're saying, but everybody can't do what you do, but I do my part. You feel me? And then the next person do their part. Like the kids in Croton, they walk around the streets all night long. Who's going down there as far as the fire marshals to inspect the apartments that they live in and the conditions that these apartment complexes are allowing them to live in?
So here's
Like,
the thing, and I don't mean to cut across you, but when you talk about Croton, that's no different than the carriage house. It's privately owned. They are privately owned. The carriage house is not ours. Croton is not ours. These are private people.
so y'all as fire marshals can't go in and
We can go
inspect?
on complaint base. We just can't go in there and the
So I'm
private property.
complaining.
Stop complaining. That's
I'm
what gotta happen.
complaining now.
Yeah. Well, he's right here. You know, he's right
Okay,
here. You
okay.
know. And the thing about it is this. I went down Croton before it got on his new ownership. And I saw people changing motors. I mean, furniture all around the track. But we gotta ask ourselves about this too.
The people.
It's the people.
I get it.
It's, you already know we've been together for a long time.
Yeah, I get
When
it.
you go down there and I seen two little girls playing Bobby Jacks, or what do you call it, Bobby pins or whatever. They were sitting in a spot by themselves where everybody was raising hell around. I mean, it's like these guys ride sitting on the hood and these guys
They
changing the
smoking,
motor.
they
and
doing
smoking.
drugs, they doing this and they doing
They shouldn't
that.
have
But
to-
put more police force down there so that they won't do that. These kids, it's not their fault.
It
These
is.
children,
It's not their fault, but here's the thing. They
it is the
live,
parents' fault, but at the same time, somebody go arrest the parents.
but again, it's privately owned. And our police force, they go down there, but here's the thing. They would rather, or we need them to be in our neighborhoods where they're responsible for. They have a security company down there, and we go down there. You want to answer to that, Chambers? They go down there and they take care of business. But the thing, yeah, Croton just got curfew
They
and
do have
everything.
security, they do.
Now listen.
They just don't, abide by it.
They got a new company. They have curfew and they got security and they have police. So they're doing a whole lot better than a lot of other projects is doing. You know, right now, you know, they're cleaning up the place. A lot of people don't like it down there, but when they call and complain about, hey, we gotta be in the house at a certain time, we can't do that. I don't even say nothing because you gotta abide by the rules down
That's
there,
true,
you know?
that's
So
true.
I want them to clean it up, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely,
You know,
definitely.
so, but yeah.
Good evening. A lot of our complexes here in the city have hired off-duty police officers to work security to keep the problems down in those communities. our officers that are working the street are averaging 20 calls per officer per shift. So they're tied up, they're running from the time they hit the street to the time they get off. And they're working 12-hour shifts. And that's every night, 20 calls per officer on the street. So they're getting 2 calls for service, they're clearing those calls, they're trying to be visible in areas that they need to be seen in. But the key thing is we need help from the public. When you see something going on out there, don't ignore it. Anything, small, large, call us so that we can come into the neighborhood, address it, and try to rid that neighborhood of that problem. We need your help. We can't do it by ourselves.
Croton is
It's privately owned. We've been working with the people down there to resolve some of the problems down there. We're going out in the communities, doing
There's
community
people
walks.
staying in abandoned houses, it's kids
So this
staying
stuff
in
that
abandoned
we
houses.
need to know, so if we.
I'm telling y'all now.
I know you're telling
like
us
they
now,
knocking
but
on
I'm
my
saying, but
door
before
like
today-
because they need something to eat for the day. So that's why I say, yes, it is the parents' fault. Because if you're a parent and you allow your child out of your sight for 24, 48, 72 hours, then it's a problem at home.
Right.
And that needs to be addressed by somebody in the city. I can't go address that parent. That's gonna be a fight waiting to happen.
I'm gonna tell you who can address that parent, and I said this a lot of times. This is a unified effort, it should be anyway. But when it comes to the welfare of children that need social services, gotta get off their butts, and dig deeper like they used back in the day. They would come to your house.
That's
And
true, that's true.
is your daddy living in here?
That's right.
They look for male shoes to make sure the man is not even in the house.
But everybody dropping the ball in Pittsburgh though.
Yeah, but we,
Everybody's dropping the
And
ball.
we've been working with social services
Yeah.
because we've had an issue where we haven't been getting the support from social services to come out when we call them. That's gotten better now because we sat down at the table and we all met and discussed our problems.
Yeah,
And
we just hired a new director in social services.
Okay.
And he's coming in and making some
Oh,
changes.
I done met the director too,
And
but
particularly in our
nothing
area
new.
of child protective services and adult protective services, he's having them step up our game. Because now those instances where you see the kids out in the abandoned house, someone needs to call them. so
well,
that
no,
they
they're
can
not.
call.
I don't know that they're in the abandoned. They come and talk to me because they come for food, because they're hungry, and then they just sit and they talk to me, and they let me know that they stand in these houses out there. I don't know exactly which house or which house is abandoned or who house they came from or none of that, but they come to my house and I feed them because they're hungry.
Yeah.
You know?
But if you're talking to them and you get some information,
Sure.
we can let PD know, and then they can let Child Protective Services know so we can address the situation.
Okay.
Because if we don't know, we can't fix
Every-
that, at least that one piece, right?
yes, and we can also, once we get that information, we can get with the common attorney's office, we can look at doing the property as a nuisance and bring them in compliance.
You don't. I'm the CDO. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. I'm barely standing here. So, I hear you, but these are family problems that we're talking about. So we can't arrest that away, but education is the key because we have a lot of things. We have young parents, we have young moms, and then the housing authority and the community as well has to come together. And like she's talking about teaching how to buy a home, we have to teach parenting. We have to teach what the components of the neighborhood, right? Because big mamas are gone.
That's right.
So we
That's
got
right.
to dig
That's
deep,
right.
and we've got to pay attention to what's going on. And so they look up to you, so that's a great thing, but we got to get the parents on board as well, because just because you give birth or you create a life does not mean that you know how to take care of it.
And I'm not saying go arrest any
Right.
parent,
Right,
because
no.
I was a single parent myself,
Yes.
so I
But
never
there's just
did-
so many
yeah.
things, because even with the young baby that was missing the other morning, the autistic baby, and I came from Richmond, so the housing authority, they have their thing where they keep things in-house. And when things happen, they don't right away call the police or call social services, because they are a family and they try to protect each other, even when it's not the best for the family. So we have to change that mindset, that group thing.
Yeah.
So walking and talking and going down and to create and to build relationships, because people don't listen to you until they know you. So we have to spend time with them, and we have to not be judgmental when we go there either. So we gotta go as who we are as human beings and not as professionals, get to know them, and then we learn and we grow together, but we have to teach them. And I've been here for 18, 19 months, and that's what I've been doing, walking and talking and getting to know people. But we have to, and that's the only way we can create change, is when they trust, because the systems have not always been good to people. And so they're not gonna directly go and call to report. So we have to build trust. And in order to build trust, we have to build relationships, but that means we have to go and spend some time. All right, and I'm Carol Adams. My office is at 32 West Washington Street. Come in there any day, from day up to day night. Ms. Davis knows. She knows. She gonna call. Something's going on. But we have lots of space there to meet, to talk about, to plan some things. But we have to, and we have to go to them. We can't expect them to come to our places. We have to go there, but we have to be genuine and sincere. If not, our efforts are gonna be lost because they're not gonna trust.
Amen. Amen.